Welcome back to part two. We're joined by Terry from London, originally from Zimbabwe, aren't you, Terry? Whereabouts in Zimbabwe?
Harare.
Harare, yeah. Look at Eddie there in prison cell with Crusher Ben. Eddie Hills! Hills! Yeah. Hey, where's his ice pick? I've noticed other people on other channels, not mentioning no names, are now going, Eddie Hills! Hills! You know? So I've started.
Hey, you set trends.
I don't know. People, it's funny actually because I see you were right other week, but I knew anyway. This certain person told me something about talk sport. Simon Jordan's even nicking me one-liners now, and it's all a bit. I don't know. I don't know if I'm pissed off about it or what. I just put Andy's t-shirt on. Go on, Terry. Keep rolling.
No, it's annoying, mate, because we just want credit and respect. That's what we want. Like, no, I don't want their job, but you want that respect. Because, like when you're a journalist, you're supposed to reference your sources, aren't you?
Yeah.
These guys are just on there. And the thing is, they con the fans into believing that they're the people coming up with stuff.
No, they're not, mate.
And it's not like Simon Jordan's the guy that's like, listen, mate, I know I nicked your content, but next time I see you at a show, I'll buy you a beer. Even something like that, just acknowledgement. Do you know what I mean? Like that respect.
You're not going to get that from this show, though, eh, mate?
Listen, you know what happens if I see these people, though, don't you?
The nicest fighting, I've seen it, pal. They're all going to do this and going to do that. They come over for selfies. They come over for selfies. What do you think?
Yeah.
Except on this kid, look at them.
Mate, get some triceps, though. Getting a little, a little cut and blow dry on those arms, aren't you, mate? Little cuts in there. I'm seeing it.
It's only because they're eating properly, and I've reduced weight and that, and I eat correctly now. Like, I was eating loads of shit before. I mean, it's freezing in here today. I've got a heater here. We're not tight. It's just that it makes too much noise. But thank you very much, Andrew, for that. I don't want to get the guns out till they're at least 18-inch. I've just done a chest and triceps today. It was 20 lamps, 500 sit-ups. And then I'm in and out like a bit of a steam. Mainly a lot of fat women in there in Pullman congregating. People like my mother and that for 2 hours. So yeah, but you're in full an hour and a half talking knackers, and then 20 minutes in sauna. You haven't trained, you attended. I like to get in and out, 45 minutes and then 20 minutes in pool. And I'm done, mate, with 10 minutes in sauna. I'm not a big sauna man. A lot of people, I know a kid in there, he's on roids and that, he comes in with his, but honestly, the guy's huge, mate, honestly. His bird walked by me today. I thought, back, I need to start putting a few extra ones in when I do my back tomorrow. And she said, how much longer are you going to be on that tricep thing there? I said, I've got one more.
Is that how she talked?
Oh, yeah, well, no, she talked all right, but, 15-stone woman weightlifter, mate, wanting, that weight V for triceps.
Yeah.
Just uncoupled it straight after I finished and put this big thing on and started pulling it to the air with all lot on. I'm like, oh. So when she shot off, I grabbed all of it, like, I couldn't move it, mate. So they're obviously juiced out of the minds, aren't they, these people? But what amazes me is the women, they only knock about with men weightlifters, don't they? It's all a bit strange, isn't it?
Well, what happens is, from what I see.
Mate,
hold on. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
No, I was saying, mate, like what happens is these lads go to the gym, they get on the gear, they get big, and then they look at the women in the gym, right, who are also in shape, and then a lot of them pressure their girlfriends to take this stuff. Oh, you'll be all right. You're not going to fry fertility. Oh, don't worry about none of that. You're not going to have any problems. And then these women get to 30, 31, and their bodies are just collapsing on them.
Well, the types, don't we? When I walk out there, I always see them egg McMuffins or whatever they call that on the side, £2.50. I always dribble at them, and then I walk by them, and people are drinking coffee and this and that. I'm straight out, obviously from straight here, but they're always sat there like eating tubs of chicken and rice, brown rice. What they have prepared and they're probably listen, no wrong with being dedicated.
But my thing is, be dedicated, if you're chasing something, a lot of these people on God, Russ, like, why do you need to be 17 and a half stone ripped to the
What,
bone?
women or men?
Men or women, like it's not really practical. It's not healthy because you're going to snore like anything. So is it for pornography? Is that what this is all about?
That Maggie that goes in there, she's 220 pounds. She weighs. God knows what the fellow weighs, but they're on all tackle. You can see it. I'm not, I just do. You know, I train light. I enjoy it better. Lightweights, loads of reps. Each set's 25. So I just try
Yeah.
to get a bit more. Because to look, I just wanted to look better aesthetically and not bulk up. So, you know what I mean? But I'm happy. You know what I mean? But it took some getting there. You know what? You were right. You know, it's just reduce your weight and you enjoy it better, and just watch what you eat, don't you? Even Julian told me that. And he
Yeah,
said,
but
well, you got gym tell you put loads of effort in, and then you go out and drink 8 pints, sniff a gram of gear, and have a kebab. So it's all arsehole uppers, isn't it?
I just think, for me, I just think you just want to enjoy life.
Yeah,
And
happy.
I trained to the point where it's comfortable for me.
Yeah.
Like if I had to start eating tubs of chicken and rice outside, that's not the lifestyle I need at the moment. I'm not 21 anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm not 21 trying to get in the Rotherham first team like the old days.
Yeah. Oh, you used to play rugby, didn't you?
Yeah.
Mm. I was running up there over there actually up near Rotherham United's training all the way from here up there, like, and it's not that far, a couple of miles.
Mate, the early part of my life, mate, like getting filled in by
Coal,
all them old school guys, mate.
coal
Fucking hell.
miners, coal miners that grab your knackers in a scrum and crush them.
It's just
Do you know what I never liked about rugby when I was at school?
guys like Dave Scully, mate. Like there used to be a scrum half at Rotherham called Dave Scully. I think that was his name. Isn't it Dave Scully? He used to be a fireman as well. Hard as nails, mate. Not even the biggest guy, but you know those hard northern men. Like when you come from down south, you're not used to that.
No. Are you seeing him
Yeah,
around here on a Saturday night? You seen Scott Brunt when he goes round town. He wears an Armani vest in winter. You seen that picture of him
yeah,
sat next to Eddie Hills? Hills, have you seen that one?
yeah,
You know the story about that? Scott and Dennis, they went to weighing because Dennis had Anna Rankin on show, didn't he?
yeah.
And they're all seats, and all the seats are labelled. So Scott got some tape, but he put it on a seat next to Eddie Hearns, and it said Scott Run. So and Dennis's name were on there, but Scott's weren't. So when they've all sat down, Scott's there. And Eddie Hearn, right? Eddie Hills. If Eddie feels uncomfortable, if somebody's around him and Eddie Hills thinks that he's vulnerable, what he does, he leans forward like that and he'll give the old, and it's a sign for Clifton Mitchell or any of these, anyone who work for Clifton, to come in and see what's going on. So you can imagine Scott sat next to Eddie going, bang, bang, bang. Good fight, this, isn't it? You know, proper being intimidating because that's what he does, isn't it, Scott? If he's in mode. And Eddie, so Eddie's gone, he's leaning forward, but all them around, all them who were doing the show, well, they know it were, didn't they? So nobody moved. So eventually, after that fight, Eddie's gone into the green room and tore strips off all of them. Can you imagine that? And I've got a photo, I think I sent you it, didn't I, in that red Armani vest.
Yeah.
I thought that tickled me. So, where were the Iceman? Where were the 6-0 Iceman? 4 by fucking way off. Where were he? This guy ripping through the division. It weren't there, were it? Because he was shitting his pants. But when I had to do with Scott, I went to face him, didn't I? On my own, as a fat man. So there you go. So I haven't got no. I've got bigger ones than him. There you go. Now, where were we there? We were on about the media, weren't we?
Yeah.
Basically, what's the answer? You know, Puppy Parsons had his debut on DAZN and looked really smart. He's a young kid. He should grab that with both hands, shouldn't he? Really, a young kid starting out.
I'll never knock him because, like I said, he's a young man living his dream. So fair
Well
play
done
to
to
him.
him. And then you've got AD Alapido, or whatever it's called. He, right, and Puppy Parsons, they're working for DAZN. They've still got YouTube channels, right? So is that a conflict of interest, yes or no?
I think people should just stop listening to them.
to their YouTube channels. Yeah, because they're not going to, because their narrative, they're going to be PR men for the paymasters, aren't they? Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, they don't have a choice.
I understand that. So I personally think if people want to do that, they can't do the other because it's double dipping and it's like being a police informant and a drug dealer. It's wrong, isn't it? It goes against the grain. That's my opinion.
Yeah. No, you're bang on, mate.
Yeah.
I think my thing is be the same on the TV screen as you are on your channel.
Yeah. Yeah, well, everybody knows what I'm like in real life. Tommy Fury and Big John Fury, big fighting man. 100 fights on hard road, 100 of them knocked out. MI5 watching front moon. Sierra Cosgrove took a chase, 3 T5s and an helicopter come catch him. He's like Brian Cockrell. What did he say, Brian Cockrell? I were a Group N rally driver. Everybody's taking chasers and burning off helicopters and Volvo T5s, aren't they? So we've got all this, and it looks like
T5Rs. The police are T5Rs.
no, man. Turbo stuck to death. No, nobody can catch these men. Obviously, Brian Cockrell, Liar Bry, and John Fury, pants, liar, pants on fire. They're inventing knackers for the sake of it, but we're still waiting for the name of the Irish champion that he beat for 100 grand, Terry. Tommy Fury's dropped him. Apparently, we're taking half at money, 50%. So, because he's saying he was selling the shows, because Tommy's not a social seller like John is. And John a case can be made for John there, can't it? So all them times he's coming to back his son up at these PR events and that. No, he's just there to sell the show, isn't he? And he were on the books all the time. So they parted company over money. Is it a PR stunt or do you think they're squabbling behind the scenes?
Well, he wasn't at Fury's last fight either, was he?
No, he weren't. I want a static crowd one or something. I'm not so sure he might have been. Nobody's seen him in any interviews, so I'm not so sure. They were all saying he were there and he went crowd. I don't know. You mean Tyson's last fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we never really saw pictures of him, did we? But people were saying he were there and that maybe he wanted to save face. He kind of like went missing, but after headbutting that young kid who were half his size, a bit like Opie Sykes, who comes up to there on me, and nearly took both his eyes out. I know he lost one of them in front of his teenage children as well. It's nice of John, isn't it? So is he ever going to have a fight, John Fury? Is Tommy ever going to fight again? And whose pair of them's best win, and what are they famous for? The stepbrother and the son. Is that
He's famous for being related to Tyson.
There you go. So have they has it run its course with them now? Do you think? Well, are they going to go away and piss off and give us a break, or are they going to be here forever? Because if they are, I'm just going to have to keep roasting them. Pop, bam.
Listen, mate, like if the Fury kids keep dropping off, he might have to start calling you out.
Call me out anytime you want. Hey, listen, I'd get stuck into any of them if I got paid for it and it gloves were there and it were a referee. They wouldn't bother me. But I'd have a bare knuckler with Big Joe Egan down here on our road here. No problem. I'll just get the big fella from Rotherham down here as my fair play man. He can fetch who he wants. And I'll get stuck into him and show people that he can't fight. So that's it. Not talking about fighting these men constantly every time they do an interview, day in, day out, talking about fighting, talking about it.
But wasn't he actually Irish novice champion or something?
Well, at the time, I've been told, doing a bit of research, and these men are gentlemen. James Quinn was apparently the man at the time, and Dan Rooney. And through people I know, they said they've never fought John Fury. So who was the Irish champion 30 years ago that Big John put on Button Moon for £100,000, by the way? And in the interview in the Sun newspaper, it's online. Wally Downs Jr., his dad played for Wimbledon in '88 final, crazy gang. Said, John, that's great, that John, £100,000. What? Who was it? For the life of me, Wally, I can't remember the man's name. Well, there you go. That's what we're up against. But I don't see anybody questioning it in the boxing media.
But they don't have the knowledge. You forget a lot of these guys are new to the sport. They only showed up when it was cool to be involved in boxing, right? They only showed up in that kind of peak Joshua era.
There you go. That's what you're up against. So, we've spoke about Big John Fury. Now we're going to get to the next 20 minutes or so. Christopher Eubank Jr. a guy who won a British title against Nick Blackwell nearly 10 years ago, and Crusher Ben, a man who says he can do light welterweight, going in against the guy that's fought at super middle. They're going to fight. Their dads are famous. Christopher Eubank Sr., English. He's got 4 wins over world champions. Nigel Benn's got 7. They're famous. Their sons are not as famous. They're going to fight for 6.5 million each at Tottenham Hotspur's ground, which I broke the story 2 weeks ago, on April the 26th. And the undercard is absolute pony macaroni. We've got Beefy Smith, Aaron McKenna, Yard Arthur Free.
Did you say that was a good fight?
Now I've had a little look now at that McKenna. I don't think he's that good. I said it's an half all right fight for an undercard. It's not a chief support though, is it?
Well, the chief support will be Yard versus Arthur, right?
Could you see them having a round robin? McKenna, Beefy, Eubank, and Ben.
I don't think McKenna's that good, so no.
No, I've had a look at him, McKenna, and I don't even think Beef is that much now. I think he's spent. I think he's just hanging on for dear life. This could be last throw at dice for Beefy. After this, he'll be on moving up. I'm dead at weight and all that nonsense. But yeah, he's going to fight at the same weight, isn't he? So he can't be dead at weight then, can he? Why go back to that weight? If you're dead at weight before, you step up, don't you?
He's not big enough to step up.
Clinton lost against Dave Starry, and him and Dennis decided they were dead at weight at 168, so they went to 175. British Commonwealth European, and he had an IBF world title over 3 years, same reign as Mike Tyson's first reign. So stepping up can be a good thing, can't it? It worth Clinton Woods, wasn't it? It made him, didn't it? Now,
no, but Clinton had the frame to go to 175.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But getting on for Beefy, well, he's going to fight Aaron McKenna, really, and he's gone from being in a pay-per-view on Sky. So they're all saying there's going to be a trilogy. So now he's on Eubank's undercard. I mean, what's going on here? And Crusher Ben, he's called him a cheating CUNT and this and that and blah, blah, blah. There's a bit of bad blood. So maybe there might be a bit of bad blood at the presser because young little Ben's got a bit of edge to him and he wants to play the villain, doesn't he? But I think it's pony now. I've checked McKenna's career out properly and looked at Beefy. I thought, nah, it's not a cheat sport, that is it. It's pony. So, what do you think?
I think we just have to let this fight happen. People need to make their money back on these two. And that's what this is really about.
Is that why the undercards? I mean, I expected an even worse undercard, to be honest, because of who's headlining. I thought it would be absolute pony, like one of Fury's undercards when he's fought Del Boy and White. But it ain't bad compared to what other shows, but nah, that for me is no good. Bill and Smith against Brandon Glanton.
That's okay. That's an okay fight.
Vidal Riley against Chevon Clark.
That's a good fight.
You're only saying that because you're Vidal's chum.
No, your pals with his trainer Russ, mate. That's your pal.
Russ is a fantastic kid. He's been here. Russ, he came in and I picked him up. Sheffield came in.
Right, proper gaff you got here, Russ, mate. Sweet gaff.
He's family are naughty counts from the East End.
But everyone, do you know what, mate? I'll tell you this now. Everyone says that, don't they? Like, everyone from East London says it. They always say East London's the home of fighting. And then you're like, but you don't really produce many champions from this side, do you? No, it doesn't matter, mate. We're all fighting. It's like the Irish. You know, the Irish always call themselves, we're fighting people. But they don't really win much, do they?
You mean like when people come up to me and they go, Sheffield's a hotbed of boxing? I'm like, well, who's the world champion at the moment from Sheffield? There isn't none.
Yeah, Sheffield was.
Terry Harper's closest, and she's Doncaster DN12. So
yeah, DN12 forever.
DN12 for Edlington, Cunningsborough, and Denby. Pop, bang. Yard Arthur 3. Is it doing it for you, Terry, after that last one?
Nah.
We don't need that, do we? So the scraping barrel there. They'll be fighting for chicken feed then. Okay. Crusher Ben, Eubank. Do they deserve it, Terry? Yes or no?
Yes, because of who their dads are. But no, from like I don't care about the fight. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's not like these two were rivals growing up. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you had Nigel and Chris, and then their sons were also beefing at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It's not that, like, it's manufactured, like literally. I'm sure, I'm sure we did an early Porky's Corner, and we talked about this, and I said they'll make it happen.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sure if someone is that hardcore that they can go into the archives, there's a time where we would have said this fight's going to happen. As ridiculous as it sounds, this fight's going to happen.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, we've got more chance of seeing the Cobra against Darren Till, haven't we, at the moment, than we have a Joshua Fury.
Let's see Cobra versus Ward. Ward's back training.
Is he?
Yeah, yeah. Looking mean.
Is he back training Andre Ward?
Listen, I heard he's going to be doing rounds with Boatsy up there. Yeah.
Yo, man, Terry, you've come out. Why was
No.
training
I'm not.
Virgil Hill?
I am not joking.
No, Virgil Hunter is training Boatsy. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boatsy's out there now. Like, I'm sure they've probably done rounds already.
Oh, you got Baker Bevo Bivol Terry in rematch. I thought first one didn't really excite me. They sort of cancelled each other out, didn't they?
I just think Beterbiev's work rate is a nightmare to deal with, and because he's heavy-handed for 12 rounds, like you're always having to go to the well just to keep him off.
Foot, aren't you, against him?
Hmm?
You're always on the back foot against him.
It's hard, mate. They're the guys you just hate being in the ring with.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Lawrence Okoli and Ortiz recovered. Women's boxing at the moment, Terry. I know Clarissa Shields, you're a big fan of hers. She's going to fight for heavyweight title. She could actually win that, couldn't she, easily?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know why she carries on. There's actually nothing left for her to do. She's going to fight this woman, Danielle Perkins, who's just essentially a taller and heavier version of Clarissa Shields, right? Saw her squatting 150 kilos or something stupid like that. You know, so we know what the game is here. But I just think it's done. Clarissa Shields has nothing left to prove to anyone. She should just leave. Savannah's talking about coming back, but I'm like, what's Savannah coming back for? Do you know what I mean?
She needs a dance partner, Savannah, doesn't she?
Yeah, like her era's done as well. Like women's boxing is in this really odd place where, you know, they're trying to milk Natasha Jonas for all they can. And I think they've been disrespectful towards her. They've just signed this Cindy Gamble, that young lady. She'll be all right, actually. I think she'll be cool. But here's the thing, Russ. In London, there were two boxers. One was called Dee Allen, and the other was called Sherelle Brown. No promoter would touch him, apart from Mo Pryor, I think. But they were the only women I knew who were regularly starching women in the ring. That just putting, button moon, mate. Like they were starching women, and no promoter wanted to touch them. And when they didn't do that, then women's boxing wasn't serious because we want knockouts. That's what we want. Like it's not going to be interesting until we see what we're used to seeing in boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. How are you doing in yourself, Terry, at the moment? Are you all right?
Mate, it's just inching along, man. This first month of the year. I still wrestle with what's the point of staying in this country, mate? That's how I feel at the moment. I'm like, what are we staying in this country for?
You think England's a bit of a toilet at the moment, Terry?
Maybe not a toilet because we still pay our council tax to keep it clean, but like I look where I live, Russ, right? And I've had this flat for 6 years now, right? And if I don't leave now, in about 2 years, there'll be crackheads all over the place, kids stabbing each other, and that will happen here pretty quick. And so I'm making that decision: like, do I just scarper, go and get a house with a garden, chill out, go and live a decent life, or do I just go abroad? Like this is a country in decline, mate. Everything is getting more expensive. At the same time, they want to pay you less for the work you're doing, but make you work harder.
Yeah,
You know,
I've noticed that with YouTube now. They're paying like, well, we've got all analytics here. We've been in touch with them, and what's happening at the moment with YouTube is they haven't got the blue chip sponsorship to go around because like say for instance Toyota or Nissan or whatever big companies, Sony. Say if they were putting X amount into YouTube a year, now they're putting half as much in. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing.
yeah, mate. It's so we lived through an era when money was cheap and plentiful, and we're living the consequences of being given that money, but it only going to the rich. The poor never got that money.
Yeah.
We didn't get tax cuts. We didn't get VAT cuts that we needed. All that happened is the government said we're going to print loads of money and we're just going to give it to these investment banks. They'll know what to do with it. And the investment banks said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're okay first. So that's 80% of the money. And then with the other 20%, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example of this. The government gave money to the banks and said, we need you to lend to small businesses, right? It's during the pandemic. And we were just lending to football clubs. So we lent to Leicester, Southampton, Burnley, and a few others. I think we lent to Sheffield Wednesday as well. I tried to veto that one, but couldn't. But we weren't giving money to the common man.
Was this your bank you work for?
Yeah, no one was giving money to the common man. It was giving money to things like football clubs and mortgages that you knew would get paid back. And now we're living the consequences of that, Russ. You're paying £8
All
for a
these
decent.
rich people messing up with these big loans.
Yeah, but they don't care because the loan's not even in their name, so they don't have to pay it back. They don't
They
care.
don't lose their houses, do they, like we do if we default?
And that's the problem. So until our society finds a way to give more money to the majority of people, we're always going to suffer. And remember, I said this in the previous one. I said we're a soft country. We should all be in the streets now demanding that the government takes care of this inflation. And you can only do that by taxing a lot of these companies that are hoarding cash and saying to them, if you're going to hoard cash on your balance sheet, we're just going to put a 50% levy on whatever that amount is.
Yeah.
And then what do you do with that? Make university education free. Make loads of stuff free that should be free. Prescription charges, get rid of those.
Yeah.
All the sort of stuff that, will give people a few extra quid so they can go and have some discretionary spend, because our economy, Russ, is built on discretionary spend. If you think about what most businesses in this country do, they cater to people spending discretionary money because we don't own the banks and the banks take our money in mortgages or rents ultimately. We don't really own the utilities in this country. So our electricity is owned by France. Our water is probably owned by Germany. I mean, some of our roads are owned by Australia, for God's sake. So we don't own the kind of infrastructure of this country. All we really own is discretionary spend. And if we're spending more on accommodation, then we're spending less on discretionary stuff. So that's why your high street's dying. We just don't have enough disposable income. And we should be.
People, that's true. If you go around Rotherham Town Centre today or Doncaster Town Centre or even going to Meadowhall, nobody's spending now. Everybody gets it online or they just do it out now, don't they?
Because no one's got money, Russ. Like you're going to Aldi now, and in Aldi you've got Audi Q7s, you've got Range Rover Evokes now. Like Aldi's where Middle England goes to shop now. It's not Waitrose anymore.
Yeah. People want a bit more bang for the buck nowadays, Terry, don't they?
We just want a fair deal, right?
Yeah.
That's why people use what you call them, the fire sticks. The fire stick in this country and the supermarket meal deal are the only things that feel fair in this country right now.
Supermarket meal deal, what's that?
You know, when you go into Tesco's, you get like a sandwich, a drink, and some crisps for like £3.70 or £3.60.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that feels like reasonably priced now, right?
Yeah.
Everything else, Russ. Imagine this: you go into Sainsbury's, you're like, oh, I wouldn't mind a decent steak. It's like £7.50.
10 quid.
Yeah, you're like, what?
Like that in Amsterdam, I couldn't believe some of the prices at what they were charging, 35 quid for a double gin and tonic and a cheese.
What?
35 quid for a double gin and tonic and a cheese toasty. Right, €35. It was about that one.
Well, that's an odd combination, by the way.
No, that's not that ain't no, that ain't like a deal meal deal or anything. That's
Yeah, I was gonna say.
€35. Well, I don't know what that is in British money. That were in that Bavaria or something bar. It's near that Grasshopper, and I'm like 35 quid for a cheese toast.
Yeah, it'd be about 28 quid.
Is that what €35 is? 28 quid.
Something like that, yeah.
But, you know, that's scandalous, mate. Absolutely scandalous. And you're choking on toast, and it just doesn't taste so good, does it?
So let me ask you a question, mate.
Yeah.
So why are people complaining about these boats coming over from France, right? When they're paying 10 quid for a steak. Like, get your priorities right, man.
Don't
Complain.
buy them. Don't buy them. Don't pay it. I don't eat steak anyway.
Yeah, but look, how many times can you eat chicken? Do you know what I mean? You want that variety. Very diet, Russ.
Yeah. Chicken curry or something. Yeah, I'll chop it all up fine. Yeah. I don't mind. What's that one I eat? When I go out, with fisherman's pie. I like that, don't I? Or chili, easy digesting stuff, sausage casserole. But steaks, I used to get them off at shoplifters all the time for buttons, but now they're charging a fiver. I said, well, it's only 7 quid anyway. Well, they're giving it. People don't want to pay the 7. I'd pay a fiver for stolen, wouldn't they, if it's frozen?
Yeah.
Coffee, Nescafe Azzurro, what I drink, if there were a jar a week, what was that, normal size jar? That's £6.50 for a small jar. Nescafe Azzurro, you know, like Americano, which I like.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. And then a small, really tiny jar of Nescafe in a petrol station the other day were like £3.99. I'm like, they were in Sutton Coldfield, and they're like, what, £3.99 for a small jar of coffee in a petrol station? I'm like, what? And you got no Nescafe and Zora. No, I got Nescafe granules. I don't like them.
And this is why my challenge to people is this: what are your priorities today? As a British citizen, or if you're not from Britain, even in your own countries, what are your priorities today? Because my priority is this. Yeah. I want to get more for my money. Yeah. I don't care about immigrants coming here because they're not putting my prices up. The supermarkets are. And if immigrants are here nicking jobs and depressing wages, okay, fine. So why is my food going up? We're being lied to. The media will happily parrot off this immigration thing because it's a distraction. The reality is the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. And as Brits, we're just sat there, I mean, literally with our hands down our trousers, on all sorts of websites we shouldn't be on, and just hoping it gets better. We're not doing anything about it.
Hands down our trousers and all websites before what put me off. Do you know what? Can I just say this, right? I'm not into that, but if I were, you wouldn't be able to watch it here because it's all interlinked, like, do you know what I mean? So I won't be able to get away with it anyway, but well, that's a good one. We are hands down our trousers watching what we shouldn't be watching. A bit like Alec Baldwin in that film where he's like that on the side of bed.
Well, definitely not like he was in his last film, Russ.
But problem is we all like that, and I don't need porn to get myself off. Like when obviously we were living at Cunnersbury, I always remember just going and making about 10-15 minutes time for myself. And every time I was just about to do the business, she'd pull up. You're like, oh, gosh, you're back again, you want to just gone. So, I don't know. Growing pains, eh, Terry? In my 40s.
Nah, mate. Hey, those are the days.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Go on, sorry.
So in response to your question, mate.
Yeah.
My thing is, how long do I stick it out in this country?
Oh, well, I don't think I'm going to be here much longer.
Yeah, you're off to Saudi.
No, I don't know. Oh, I don't think I'll be here when I'm 60, and I'm 55 this year. I don't think I'll be here when I'm 60 now.
Where would you go? Spain?
Probably something like that, or Portugal, somewhere warm.
Mate, you could go and revive, I mean, Porky's Gym Marbella.
Could do ice cream parlour. Porky's ice cream parlour.
Yeah, take it all the way back.
£5 an ice cream. The Queen Rat block, I counted 80 odd people paying a fiver an ice cream. Well, 80 times £5. What's that? That's £4 grand.
400.
And that were in 2 hours, and I thought, I'm in the wrong. fucking game here, Sam. Oh, you just get somebody to work there, won't you? Just sit back all day.
Didn't they used to go to war over ice cream?
I used to go to war in prison over ice cream, mate. On a Sunday, you get a little ice cream. When you go down with your tray, they give you an ice cream. And if I were coming down late, stragglers, I say, hey, where's mine? They're going to run out. I said, well, go back to the kitchens then. They go, no, 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 no. So listen, if I have to come round this server, I bet there's ice creams, Ed. Oh, and I would get at it, and I have had battles behind the server over, oh, don't mess with man's food. So that's when I realised if you want to look after yourself in jail, get a job in kitchens.
And that's when Porky became Porky.
Kitchen lads always had big bellies. I'd always see them coming onto the wing with bags of stuff. And you know, when I first started doing porridge, what's going on here? The big going in people's cells coming out with backy and this and that. And then my cellmate at the time, this is years ago, and he was like buying sandwiches, blocks of cheese, bits of ham and all that. And you get bread in the morning, but not being used for toast. You make sandwiches at night. I think, oh, that's a good idea, that, you know, because I was a bit naive. I always thought, yeah, I'll give a job in kitchen, pop, pop, opposite pop, make a pig of myself, because it's better than pig swill on wing coming up in that steam trolley crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we've had a good chat today. Let me finish off on this one then, right? Who have you got for Parker and Dubois? You never gave me an answer.
Dubois stoppage.
Dubois stoppage. Well, I'm going to go Dubois on points. That's where I'm going to go. Dubois on points in an amazing fight. Because I think Andy Lee's a good trainer. And I think Parker's a different animal now. But I'm going to go for Dubois on points.
Well, we'll see what the testing shows, huh? We'll see what Parker shows up if they test him.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. All right, Terry.
All right, mate.
Well, I've got an hour to get ready for Timmy Adametchis and Scott Brunt on his Porky's debut. Scott, I'm going to terrorise you.
Sheffield Legends, mate.
Sheffield Legends. All right, you take care, Terry.
Take care, mate. Speak to you soon.
Peace out.
All right, bye.
All that with Terry. Women fear him, men fear him. No, I'm joking. Women love him, men want to be him. Nice to get Terry on. Bit of advice there for you from a really high up banker. I went to pick Terry up one day, and we're back a few years now in Leeds, and he'd just done a big seminar, and he stood up in front of hundreds of people in suits, and it's all online if you go look. So yeah, very smart man, very bright. Just like Rico. How are you doing, Rico? Hope you well. I was thinking about you the other day, Rico. You are right. People in Amsterdam where there's pedal by you like raving lunatics, and everybody gives way to them, don't they? But it's amazing how nobody gets run over by these people, isn't it? Well, it makes you more alert, doesn't it? If you're off your box. But yeah, that's the only drawback about them sort of places. And the prices and the weather, sitting it down all the time. And all you do is walk and walk and walk and walk for all day. It's craziness. In between pubs, that is. But I enjoyed it. So Rico, the next time I go over that end, I'm going to come and see you in Finland, if you're out there, kid. Okie dokie. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Don't forget to share the videos. Joe Egan. An evening with Joe Egan, and they couldn't sell any tickets. You miss out on a photograph, eh? Oh my God. And chicken curry with boiled rice for 20 quid. You couldn't make that up. People will do anything for £1 now. Go on, peace out. Come see me, Big Joe Egan in Shithouse.